The great hall of the Galactic Council was full. High lords from 25 powerful alien species had gathered. Their robes shone with gold, silver, and rare minerals from 100 worlds. Lights flickered above, and translators hummed quietly. It was a place of order, of power, of arrogance. Today, they watched something strange, a message from Earth. On a large screen, a human woman stood tall. Her face was calm, her voice soft but serious. We ask again, leave our skies. Return. Your warships do not test our patience. We mean no harm. But we will protect what is ours. The hall was silent for a moment. Then laughter. The Skarn warlord, thick and covered in red scales, slapped the table. Did you hear that? Protect what is ours? They sound like scared little children. The Vex High Priest blinked its 6 yellow eyes. Humans are still stuck on one planet. One. Why should we listen to them? Laughter spread across the chamber. One by one, the council members mocked the message. They think they can scare us. They have no war fleets. They don't even hold a single star system. But not everyone laughed. At the far end of the table, Counselor Urin of the Valari sat still. Her skin glowed blue, and her eyes narrowed as she replayed the message. Something felt different. At human, her voice had no fear, no anger, no begging. It was calm. Too calm. YRN leaned toward the Supreme Speaker. Maybe we should listen. They. Speaker waved her off. Please. Earth is a child in a room of giants. They send warnings like they're someone. Urin didn't push. But inside, a chill had started to grow. Outside the chamber, the news was already spreading. The human warning message had been sent across 12 systems. Some thought it was a joke. Others, a trap. Still, most believed humans were weak. After all, they hadn't fought a single space war in over 100 years. They had only one world. One moon. One space station. Easy targets. So, the council made a plan. They would send a message of their own through power. 3 warships were sent to orbit Jupiter, just outside Earth's claimed space. No weapons fired. No threats made. Just presence. We'll show them who rules the stars. The Skarn warlord said proudly. But something went wrong. 1 day passed. Then 2. No signal from the ships. No video. No response. Gone. The council thought it was a system error. Maybe a solar flare. They sent scouts, but the scouts returned. With nothing. No debris. No trace. The ships had disappeared completely. Panic slowly started to grow, though many still hid it. It must be pirates. Maybe a wormhole. Space is full of strange things. But a whisper began in the lower halls of the Empire. What if it was the humans? The speaker called an emergency meeting. Everyone gathered again in the great hall. This is foolish. The Skarn warlord shouted. Earth can't do this. They don't have that kind of power. The Vux priest agreed. Even if they built new weapons, how would they hide them? We see everything. But then a new message arrived. Not a broadcast. A direct transmission. No source. No trace. Just a voice. It was the same human woman. We asked. You laughed. We warned. You pushed. Next time, we won't speak. The room went silent. This time. No one laughed. The message ended with one simple thing, a picture. It showed the 3 missing warships. Broken. Drifting. Their symbols burned off. And one word burned into the side of the largest ship. Enough. Urin stood slowly. You still think this is weakness? No one answered. The council had mocked humanity's warnings. But now, fear had entered the room. And far away, in a small blue world called Earth, 100 quiet minds waited for the next move, because humans had stopped warning and started watching. *. The Galactic Council was no longer laughing dot after the message. And the image of the destroyed ships, everything had changed. Meetings were quiet. No one mocked Earth now. No one called humans weak anymore. But still, many believed it was just a lucky trick. "This is not war," the Skarn warlord said, his voice shaky but proud. "They got lucky. A surprise attack. We are still stronger." To prove it, he gave a command. A large mining colony on planet Euralis near. Human space was ordered to double its output. "Let's show Earth we are not scared," he said. Euralis was rich in tritium, a rare fuel. The humans had warned not to come closer. But the Empire ignored it. So, on the third day after the warning, the fire came. No one saw it happen. No enemy ships appeared in the sky. No alarms went off. No escape pods launched. But when the Council's satellite passed over Euralis, it saw a black hole in the ground where the colony used to be. A perfect circle burned, clean through the rock. 5,000 workers. 2 defense towers. 3 energy reactors. All gone. Not even dust remained. Just a strange mark in the rock. A circle with a single Earth letter in the center. H. They didn't understand what it meant. Not at first. Until someone whispered, "That's the first letter of the word human." Panic hit the Council like a storm. This is impossible. How? Did they strike without being seen? Even our cloaked ships make energy waves. How did they hide this? But there were no answers. No footage. No radar. No sound. Just silence. The Velari counselor, Yirin, stood and said what no one else wanted to hear. "They are ahead of us." The Scar warlord shouted back, "No, impossible. We control 7 systems. We have 10 fleets. They have 1 world." Yirin looked at him calmly. "And yet your warships are gone. Your colony is ash. And your pride is burning." Outside the council hall, fear spread like disease. Trade ships refused to fly near Earth's space. Merchants turned back mid-journey. A famous explorer from the Tovari species destroyed her maps to Earth's region and erased her logs. People didn't just fear war. They feared something worse. They feared humans were hiding something powerful, something ancient. Something patient. The council made a decision. A secret one. They would send a fleet not to attack, but to watch Earth closely from its moon, Luna. 12 ships, the Vox priest said. No weapons, just eyes. The fleet left within the hour. 12 quiet ships, covered in cloaking. Each one fitted with the Empire's best spying tech. But when they reached Luna, they found something waiting. A floating ring of satellites. Old, silent, cold. But when the ships passed through the ring, each system on every ship went dark. Cameras failed. Weapons froze. Lights blinked out. And then, voices, not angry voices. Not shouting. Just whispers. "We told you. You were warned. Why did you come?" The commander screamed. Tried to reboot. Tried to flee. One ship made it back. Just one. It returned to the council without its crew. Only a message played on loop. A human voice again. "We don't want war. We want space. We want peace. But if you come again, ... you won't return." The council was silent. No more plans were made. No more ships were sent. But the worst part wasn't what they saw. It was what they didn't see. They still didn't know how the humans attacked. What weapons they used. Where their ships were. Or if their ships were even ships at all. One young scientist whispered a rumor that spread fast across the stars. What if the humans don't need ships anymore? The Empire had ignored the first warning. They laughed at the second. But now, ... now, they were listening. Too late, because the first fire had come, and more would follow. The council's fear was growing. 12 ships had gone to Luna. Only one came. Back. Empty. No crew. No voice. Just a repeating message from Earth. We don't want war, but we will defend. No demands. No threats. Just a promise. A calm, cold promise. And that scared the council more than any battle ever had. The Velari counselor, Yirin, looked at the returned ship personally. She wore a breathing mask as she walked through its dark corridors. Walls were scratched, not with claws, not with weapons. But with hands. Fingernail marks. As if the crew had tried to escape. From something inside the ship. One room had a single word scratched over and over again. Eyes. Yirin didn't speak for hours after. Back in the council chamber, chaos ruled. Earth is using dark tech. No, this is mind control. We must strike now, wipe them out. But no one knew where to strike. There were no bases to bomb. No fleets to chase. Earth had vanished from all galactic scans. Even Earth's moon, once visible in every chart, now showed only static, like it was never there. And then something new happened. A signal. One more message. This time, it didn't come from Earth. It came from within the Empire itself. From a deep space mining facility called Station Zara, one of the Empire's oldest. The signal was weak, broken, static-filled, but the voice was clear enough. This is Commander Reese's ... We found something. Something old ... buried. We tried to wake it. Thought it was human ruins. Screeching noise. It moved. It looked at us. We shouldn't have. Screaming. It's not tech. It's not a weapon. It's a warning. Then silence. Only dust. When rescue teams arrived 5 hours later, there was no station. Only ashes, floating metal, frozen screens. And one final recording. A hologram. Of a human woman. The same woman as before. She stood still in the blackness of space and said, "You opened what we buried. You woke it. You were told not to dig near Earth's edge. We sealed those places for a reason. You broke the seal." She raised her hand, and behind her, a shape moved. Massive, shadowed, something ancient. Something alive. The hologram ended. The High Council could no longer deny it. This was no longer about Earth. It was about what Earth was protecting. Asterisk. The Council panicked. Deploy dreadnoughts. Find their main base anywhere. But every probe sent near Earth now vanished. Even the outer sensors of the galactic web stopped working, and maps began to change. Not just updated. Erased. Earth single quotes S. Entire sectors started to fade from view. Destroyed. Just removed. Forgotten. As if the universe itself was hiding it. Only one place still had access. The memory banks of Station Zara, before it burned. In that data, hidden under 5 layers of encryption. The Velari counselor found a final note from the human ambassador. It was marked, "For those who will finally listen." She played it in the chamber, her hands shaking. "We never wanted power. We asked for peace, not silence. We asked to be left alone, not erased. But you kept coming. So we did what we had to do. The fires will stop when your footsteps stop. We will not knock again." The message ended. The room stayed still. No one spoke. No one moved. In one corner, the Skarn warlord stood frozen, staring at the ashes brought back from Station. XARA. He whispered. "What are the humans hiding?" Yirin answered without turning. "They're not hiding anything. They're holding it back." Asterisk. Fear had turned into silence. The Council stopped sending ships. The border near Earth was closed. No one dared cross the invisible line where the last scouts disappeared. But the damage was already done. The Empire was no longer feared. It was trembling. Every corner of the galaxy whispered the same question. What did the humans awaken? And then a human ship appeared. It didn't come with war. No weapons. No cloaking. No threats. Just a small silver ship, old design. Civilian. Its call sign was simple. Hope 9. It entered the Empire's space slowly, silently, as if it didn't care about the danger. The Council watched in shock. The Skarn warlord slammed his fist. This is a trap. But no ship stopped Hope 9, because no one had the courage to face it. Inside Hope 9 were just 2 humans, one old man, one young woman. The man's name was Elias Kade, former Terran diplomat. Retired, forgotten, weak by human standards. The woman? Unknown. No records, but her eyes, they glowed faintly. Not technology, not implants. Something else. They allowed themselves to be captured. The Empire brought them to the central tower on Nova Zenth, the Council's capital moon. No cuffs. No force. Elias walked calmly through the halls, hands behind his back. The young woman said nothing. She just looked around and smiled. In the main chamber, the Council demanded answers. Why did you come? Where is Earth? What are you hiding? Elias said nothing at first. He placed a small cube on the table. It glowed blue. Then he spoke, voice calm, like reading from a book. You asked what Earth is hiding. I'll tell you. We are hiding the truth. That we are not alone on Earth. That we were never alone. You thought we were a young species. But we are older than your records. You see our cities. You don't see the ground under them. You count our ships. You don't. Count the ones we buried on purpose. The room was silent. No one dared interrupt. Elias pointed at the cube. It played a projection, an ancient battlefield. Alien skeletons. Burned skies. Terran banners in the dust. The Valari counselor Yiren leaned forward. This war, when was this? Elias answered, before your first cities. Before your first stars. We sealed it. We buried it. And we made a promise. The Vox priest hissed. What promise? The young woman finally spoke. If the stars ever forgot the cost of fire, we would remind them. Outside, on Nova Zenth's moonbase, alarms went off. Not from humans. From inside the Empire's own network. Systems failed. Screens blinked. Lights flickered. In every system. 3 words appeared. We warned you. Across the galaxy, hidden Terran satellites that had slept for 100 years activated. Not to destroy, but to watch. To show. Every major Empire city received the same vision. A burning sky, a crying child, a human figure covered in ash, whispering. One line. You never asked what happens if we lose control. Back in the chamber, the Skarn warlord shouted, What do you want? Land? Power? The throne? Elias looked at him sadly. No, we want you to stop. The young woman walked to the center of the hall. She raised her hand, and every device in the room shut off. No light, no power, only darkness. Then she glowed. Her body released a soft hum like ancient music, and everyone saw her for what she truly was. Not a soldier, not a diplomat, a seal, a living gate, something old, something human. But more, the air shook, the floor cracked slightly, and just as quickly, it stopped. She lowered her hand, the lights returned, and she said only one thing. This was mercy. The Council sat frozen. They had captured 2 humans, but they now realized it was not the humans who were in danger. It was them, because Earth had stopped hiding. And now, the galaxy would have to decide, run. Kneel. Or burn. The human visitors were gone. No one saw them leave. One moment, they stood in the council chamber. The next, only silence. No ships. Launched. No trace on scanners. It It was as if the humans had never been there at all, but they had left something behind. Fear, and something far worse. A countdown dot. It began slowly, one city at a time. On planet Vernuk, the sky turned red without warning. Not fire, not warships, just the atmosphere changing. The sun seemed to flicker. Shadows moved on their own. Every screen turned black and showed a phrase. This is not a war. On the same day, on Cora Prime, the capital of the Empire's science division, every computer core locked itself. All research lost. All military codes scrambled. Nothing was stolen. Just taken offline. Silently. Without a trace. The council called an emergency meeting. What is happening? They're not attacking. They're erasing us. The Valari counselor, Yurin, stood in the center of the chamber. We were warned. This isn't destruction. It's correction. The Skarn warlord growled. They're not gods. We are still the Empire. But outside, another screen lit up. This time, it showed the human woman. Again. No background. No emotion. Just her eyes, calm and cold. We told you not to come closer. You didn't listen. We asked for peace. You gave us targets. So we learned. We waited. And we built. Now you will learn what silence hides. You will learn what fire sounds like. Within 1 hour, 7 of the Empire's core energy stations exploded. Not with bombs, but from within. Every failsafe failed. Every override locked. It was as if the machines themselves obeyed someone else. Now entire power grids shut down. Planets fell into darkness. Ships lost control mid-flight and drifted into space. There were no explosions in the sky, just the quiet hum of systems dying. Then came the real fire. At the edge of the Calyx system, the Empire's largest fleet, the Iron Banner Armada, was preparing a full assault. 9 capital ships. 30 assault cruisers. Hundreds of fighter crafts. All ready to attack Earth's region. But before they could launch, the stars around them changed. Literally. One by one, they disappeared. Not blocked, not destroyed. Just gone. Black. Like a blanket had been pulled over that part of the galaxy. Voice rang across all channels. You should not have come this far. Return to your homes, or let your homes burn with you. The fleet hesitated, but the admiral, proud and foolish, gave the order. Launch. They never finished the word, because from the darkness, something came. It was not a ship. It had no engines, no shape, no heat. Just a presence, like space itself had turned against them. And then the entire fleet was gone. No debris, no screams. Only one thing remained, a single metal plate floating in the void. Stamped with one word. Enough. Panic spread like wildfire. The Empire was falling, and no one could stop it. Not with weapons. With numbers. Because this wasn't war. This was punishment. Across the stars, ordinary people watched and whispered. The humans didn't win. The Empire lost the moment they laughed. Inside the burning capital, Ewan stood alone in her chamber. Outside her window, Nova Zenth glowed orange with flame. She activated her personal recorder and spoke softly. This is not a report. This is a message to the future. We thought Earth was weak. We thought silence meant fear. But their silence was a shield. And behind that shield was fire. She closed her eyes. Behind her, the city's towers began to fall. In the final hour, a single message was sent from Earth. Not through galactic channels. Not through screens. But through every mind, every ship, every planet. A voice speaking directly into thought. This is your last lesson. Leave us be, or there will be no more stars left to rule. The stars were quiet now. Too quiet. Warships floated in ruins. Empire worlds burned low, not from fire, but from fear. Supply routes collapsed. Cities dimmed. The Empire's proud banners were torn down not by soldiers, but by the people who once believed in them. That the once mighty Galactic Empire was crumbling, but no human fleet had ever arrived. No soldier had landed. There were no ground invasions, no loud speeches, only silence, and that made it worse. On the remains of planet Fyrak, Commander Torvik sat in a broken tower. His leg was wounded, his armor cracked. He held a small communicator in his hand hoping for orders, but none came. Empire's command grid was dead. Instead, a voice spoke from the broken walls behind him. Soft, human, you came to take from us. You laughed at our peace. You thought silence was weakness. Torvik turned. A human stood there. No armor, no weapon, just a thin coat and calm eyes. Torvik lifted his weapon with shaking hands. "Whoa, what do you want?" The human didn't move. "Nothing. We came to make sure you understand. This wasn't revenge. This was warning. This wasn't hate. It was balance." Torvik fell to his knees. He looked around the ruins of his city. "Then why leave me alive?" The human walked closer, knelt beside him, and whispered, "Because we want you to remember." Across the galaxy, similar moments happened. In every ruined base, in every burned tower, a single human would appear. They didn't shoot. They didn't shout. They just looked, spoke a few words, and vanished, like ghosts of judgment. Like messengers of truth. In the Council's shattered moon station, the remaining leaders gathered what they could. Maps, food, fear. YRN. The Velari stood over a glowing console. She replayed Earth's final transmission. "We won't conquer. We won't stay. But we will watch. If you rise again in arrogance, the stars will remember the fire. We left you the ground. Be wise how you walk on it." The Skarn warlord, now weak and thin, shook his head. This is worse than death." Yiren didn't disagree. On Earth, everything was quiet. No cheering, no parades. Humanity went back to building. To planting. To silence. They did not celebrate their victory, because to them, it was never a war. Was a reminder. One Terran commander, named Lin, walked the halls of the Earth Defense Corps. She paused near a large metal wall covered in names. Not names of heroes. Not names of victims, but names of warnings. Ignored. Above them was a simple phrase. "We asked first." A young soldier beside her asked, "Commander, why didn't we finish the Empire?" Lin looked out the window at the stars. Her voice was tired but strong. Because destroying them would be easy. Teaching them was the point. And mercy, when you can destroy, is the loudest lesson. The soldier nodded, slowly. Back in space, the Empire's remaining fleets gathered near the neutral zone. Not to fight, but to apologize. A single pod was launched toward Earth space. No weapons. No gold. Just a message. It was written by hand. "We understand. We remember. We will not cross the line again." And for the first time in galactic history, the line held. Not because of fear, not because of treaties, but because one species whispered no mercy was needed. Just memory. And high above Earth's orbit, something watched. Not a ship, not a satellite, but a shape. Old, silent, waiting. Not for war, but for another voice to rise in arrogance. And if it did, the fire would return. But until then, peace. Because this time, they had finally listened. Asterisk years passed. The war that never truly began had already ended. No more explosions. No more invasions. Just memory. The stars were quiet now, but in a different way. Not from fear, from respect. The galaxy had changed, and it began with a single warning. On a quiet world named Virel, A small alien child sat under a tree. Her skin was golden green, and her eyes wide with wonder. She looked up at the sky and pointed. "Teacher, is that Earth?" Her teacher, a wise old Threxian, nodded slowly. "Yes, the silent planet." "But why does no one go there?" she asked. "Is it dangerous?" The teacher smiled softly. "No, Earth is not dangerous." He paused. "But humans, they can be." The child frowned. "Then why didn't they destroy us all?" The teacher closed his eyes for a moment, and opened them with a deeper calm, because they remembered something we forgot. Far across the stars, in a small Terran garden near the Himalayan mountains, Elias Cade, now much older, walked among the plants. The young woman who once stood with him in the council chamber now sat beside a quiet stream. She was older too, yet somehow untouched by time. A drone hovered beside her. It buzzed softly and projected a message. Empire official request. Open dialogue. Peace celebration. She turned to Elias. "Do we accept?" Elias looked at the sky. The stars twinkled like eyes watching. "Yes," he said, "but only if they speak truth." In many parts of the galaxy, statues were built not of gods, not of emperors, but of a single human woman standing calmly, hand raised, warning. The sky dot under each statue were words written in 100 languages. "We asked first." Not a threat, a reminder. Inside the council's rebuilt hall, smaller now, humbler Yurin still sat, though her hair had turned white. She spoke to a group of young diplomats from rising worlds. Each asked the same question: "What are humans?" "Really?" Yurin leaned forward, her voice full of memory. "They are gardeners of silence. They grow peace until someone stomps through it. Then they remove the boots." Quietly. The students laughed nervously. Yurin did not. The story of Earth became legend, but not the kind sung with pride. It became a quiet tale, passed from parent to child, from ship to ship. A tale not of war, but of restraint, of a people who chose not to burn the galaxy. Even when they could have in the empty reaches beyond mapped space, something still watches. A forgotten satellite floats powered by a single pulse dot. It blinks every few years. Each blink sends a message. Still here. Still watching. And on Earth, a receiver lights up. A Terran child sees it and runs to her grandmother. "What's that?" The old woman smiles. "That's a story of when the stars forgot how to listen, and humans taught them." Again. And in the dark space between systems, the stars shine more carefully, because they remember the day the galaxy changed, not from fire, but from a whisper, and that whisper became the loudest sound in the universe. End of story, *.